Catus, Maximus here, this time with a review of a Ridgid pipe wrench. This is actually quite a vintage unit, sometime I believe in the 40s, although Ridgid and this patent number 1727623, this patent is essentially the patent that was the modern design. I have a hard time saying that. Originally invented as a Stilson wrench, and those were the three-piece type where you had a beam and then a box, and you still see those, a box and then the swinging moving head. Ridgid integrated that into one unit, and so that was the big deal about the Ridgids, and what really made them so popular is the fact that they were just a little bit cheaper to manufacture, but were still easily just as strong, or even a little bit stronger. And so this is the, it was almost a century ago, 80 years ago, that Ridgid really made what we know now as the modern pipe wrench, including the little flares to help protect the wheel. We know this is an older Ridgid just because this wheel doesn't have a center groove in it. Ridgid is always difficult to date their tools. Besides the wheel, you can just look at some of the markings. That tends to be how you tell. So, and the little 6-inch ones really aren't too bad at all. We have the integrated D and G, that tells part of its vintage. Oil hardened. So, not a lot else to really say about one of these wrenches, besides the fact that oftentimes you find these things and the handles are bent. And really, it's because there is a wide variety of forces involved with working with pipes. Many times when you're installing brand new fresh pipes or plastic pipes, you don't need much leverage. The real issue and why so many of these end up with bent handles is because for that convenience they have a surprisingly wide jaw opening. What we have here is a 3/4 inch pipe. Now, pipe and tubing is rated for the inside diameter, so this is 3/4 of an inch on the inside, but it's 1 inch on the outside. So something like this, when you open the jaw, will open up to where it says 3/4 inch. And it's already compensating for the fact that it needs to work on essentially a 1 inch outer diameter. And the great thing about the Stilson design is it's a compression. So when you're tightening, this jaw actually rocks in and bites very hard. By the way, don't use these on drill chucks. I'm so tired of finding old drills that have ruined chucks because people use pipe wrenches on them. But when you put it on the pipe, as you press, it drives the jaw teeth harder into the pipe, and that's how you get so much grip, and then they ratchet. So all you have to do is this, and when you want to go the other way, it's just the same thing. And that's really the great thing about the Stilson design, and then the Ridgid was just a refinement to really make it more modern, a little bit lighter weight. And these old Ridgids really are a classic. And so obviously the issue is if you have a pipe like this that's old and rusted, you can find a little 6-inch wrench, and it'll certainly fit on the pipe, but there's no way you're going to have anywhere close to enough leverage to actually break a rusted pipe like this. And so people always are hammering on them, using other pieces of pipe. Since you're working with pipe, it tends to be available, using cheaters on them, and they damage the handles. And so Ridgid was always, one thing was good about their warranty, which is what sucks about Ridgid brand and hand tools these days, is that they're real stringent with their warranties. I've had a few people comment about how Ridgid just denies warranties on hand tools that they just throw it out as wear and tear, not a defect in materials and workmanship, which is a real shame. That Ridgid's really just kind of blowing people off. Part of keeping their name around was them selling the rights to their name to Home Depot to use as a house brand. But none of the Ridgid tools that are sold at Home Depot are really associated with the original company, besides maybe their pipe wrenches, which is really unfortunate. They the way they sold themselves out really diminished them, and then nowadays they have real tough warranties. I don't know about the warranties on specifically their pipe wrenches, but over the years, and since they're still around, they still are, it's a contract. When you advertise a warranty like a craftsman satisfaction guarantee or performance guarantee, that's a public contract. You have to deal with that and warranty the tools. And when it comes to Ridgid pipe wrenches, I should mention here that ever since at least the 40s, this was their warranty. If the housing ever breaks or even distorts, we'll replace it for free. So that was their unconditional guarantee. And since the company's still around, that still applies. There's some things that Ridgid doesn't do anymore, such as advertising like this. I don't know exactly how ads like this would really fly in today's political climate, but Ridgid certainly wasn't going to hesitate to make certainly provocative advertising to sell their wrenches. So anyway, that was a little review of this little Ridgid classic wrench, and a little discussion about their warranty. So if you find one of these, they're still bound by that unconditional guarantee. If it ever breaks or distorts, they're going to replace them because they still have to. But of course, these patents have long gone out, so every pipe wrench is this exact design is basically just a copy of one of these. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.